My name is Sarah Mitchell. And 6 months ago, I lost everything in a single night. My job, my friends, my reputation. Even my own family looked at me like I was a stranger. But here's what nobody knew. I was innocent. This is the story of how one lie destroyed my life and how the truth fought its way back to the surface when I'd almost given up hope. If you've ever been falsely accused of something, type "I believe you" in the comments. Let me take you back to when everything was normal. I was a third-grade teacher at Riverside Elementary, 28 years old. Loved my job more than anything in the world. Those kids? They were everything to me. Every morning, I'd arrive early to decorate the classroom. My students called me Miss Sunshine because I'd greet each one with a high five and their favorite song playing softly in the background. There was this one student, Marcus. Quiet kid. Shy. His parents were going through a rough divorce, and he'd started having trouble in class. Acting out. Not turning in homework. So I stayed after school with him. Helped him with reading. Listened when he needed to talk. Watched him slowly come out of his shell. His mom, Vanessa, would thank me every week at pickup. "You're changing his life," she'd say with tears in her eyes. I thought I was doing the right thing. I had no idea I was walking straight into a nightmare. Teachers like Sarah are rare. Tag a teacher who changed your life. It was a Tuesday, October 17th. I remember because it was picture day and the kids were all dressed up, excited. The principal, Mrs. Henderson, called me into her office during lunch. That wasn't unusual. We'd chat about curriculum stuff sometimes. But when I walked in, there were two other people there. A man and a woman in dark suits. "Miss Mitchell," Mrs. Henderson said, and her voice was cold. Ice cold. "These are detectives from the county sheriff's office." My stomach dropped. The male detective stood up. "Sarah Mitchell, we need to ask you some questions about an allegation made against you." "Allegation? What allegation?" The female detective's face was stone. "Vanessa Torres has filed a formal complaint. She claims you've been giving her son, Marcus, unauthorized gifts. That you've been contacting him outside of school hours through text messages and social media. And that you made inappropriate comments about his home life." The room started spinning. "What? No, that's not, I never." "Did you or did you not give Marcus Torres gifts?" the detective asked. Yes, but they were books. For our classroom reading program. Every student who finishes 5 books gets to choose one to keep. It's been a school tradition for. Did you or did you not exchange personal contact information with the minor?" The story hit the local news that same night. Elementary school teacher under investigation for inappropriate conduct with student. They didn't say my name, not legally, but Riverside is a small town. Everyone knew within hours. My phone started blowing up. But not with support. "My best friend, Jennifer, I can't believe this. I can't believe you. Don't contact me again." My sister, mom's in tears. "How could you do this to our family?" My boyfriend, David, "I need space to think about this." No one asked for my side. No one. The assumption was instant. If you're accused, you're guilty. By the next morning, someone had spray-painted "Predator" on my front door. I stayed inside. Didn't eat. Barely slept. Just sat on my couch watching my entire life crumble through my phone screen. The school district released a statement. "We take these allegations with the utmost seriousness and have zero tolerance for misconduct." Translation: they'd already thrown me away. And the worst part? I kept thinking about Marcus. Was he okay? Did he know what was happening? Did he think I'd abandoned him? I couldn't even check on him. If I tried, they'd use it against me. I was trapped. Guilty by accusation alone. This was just the beginning. The detective assigned to my case was Detective Rachel Chin. Professional, thorough, and completely convinced I was hiding something. She interviewed me 3 times over 2 weeks. Each session felt like an interrogation from a crime show. "Why did you single out Marcus Torres?" "I didn't single him out. I help lots of students who are struggling." "Can you provide names?" "Yes. Emma Rodriguez, Tyler Jackson, Sophie. But you stayed late specifically with Marcus." "Multiple times. Alone." His mom knew. She approved. She'd pick him up at 5 o'clock every Tuesday and Thursday. Detective Chin would write things down without looking at me. Like I wasn't even human. Just a case number. Miss Mitchell, we've examined your phone records. You texted Vanessa Torres 47 times over 3 months. About Marcus's progress. About homework. That's what teachers do. But the way she said it made it sound sinister. Like I was obsessed. Stalking. They took my laptop. My phone. My personal journals where I wrote notes about my students' progress. Everything I did out of care was being twisted into evidence of guilt. Weeks passed. No charges filed. But no clearing of my name either. I existed in limbo. No job. No income. No way to defend myself because there was no actual trial, just reputation execution. The justice system is broken. Type, innocent until proven guilty if you agree this shouldn't happen. My savings ran out in 6 weeks. I applied for jobs. Every single one Googled my name. Every single one went silent afterward. The bank foreclosed on my car first. Then started proceedings on my apartment. My mother, my own mother, told me not to come to Thanksgiving. Your nephew will be there, she said, voice tight. I can't risk it. Risk it. Like I was dangerous. Like I was diseased. David broke up with me through a text message. I can't be associated with this. I have a career to think about. 6 years together. Ended in 47 words. I started having panic attacks. Couldn't leave my apartment without feeling like everyone was staring, judging, whispering. I'd see mothers at the grocery store pull their children closer when I walked by. One night, I stood on my bathroom floor, staring at a bottle of sleeping pills, thinking about how easy it would be to just stop. Stop fighting. Stop hurting. But something kept me here. Some tiny voice saying, the truth matters. The truth has to matter. So I held on. Barely. 8 weeks into the investigation, Detective Chin called me in again. But this time, something was different. She looked tired. Frustrated. Miss Mitchell, I'm going to be honest with you. Something about this case isn't adding up. My heart jumped. What do you mean? She pulled out a folder. Vanessa Torres' story keeps changing. In her first statement, she said you texted Marcus directly. Then she said you texted her. Then she said you used a school email. When I pressed her for the actual messages, she said she deleted them. All of them. All of them. Every text. Every email. No screenshots. No forwards to anyone else. In an age where parents screenshot everything, does that seem likely to you? No, I whispered. It doesn't. Detective Chin leaned forward. I've interviewed 12 of your former colleagues. Every single one says you were professional. Dedicated. Several mentioned you helped their children too, in the exact same way you helped Marcus. Then why is this happening? She rubbed her temples. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But Miss Mitchell, I need you to think. Is there any reason Vanessa Torres would want to hurt you? Any conflict? Any disagreement? I thought back through every interaction. Every parent-teacher conference. Every pickup conversation. And then, something clicked. Wait. There was one thing. About 2 months before the accusation. What? Vanessa asked me to change Marcus's grade on a project. He'd gotten a C, and she wanted it changed to an A because, her words, it would look better for his record. And? I said no. I explained that Marcus had done good work, but the rubric was clear, and it wouldn't be fair to other students. She got really upset. Called me rigid and unsympathetic to what her family was going through. Detective Chen's eyes narrowed. Did anyone else witness this? The assistant principal was walking by. Mr. Rodriguez. He might have heard some of it. She wrote furiously. Anything else? Any other interactions? She asked me to write a letter supporting her custody case against Marcus's father. Said it would help prove she was the more involved parent. I told her I couldn't do that. Ethically, I couldn't take sides in a divorce. I barely knew Marcus's father. How did she react? She said I was disappointing her. That she thought I actually cared about Marcus. Detective Chin closed her folder and looked at me for a long moment. Miss Mitchell, I want you to know that I'm reopening this investigation from a different angle. But I need you to be patient. And I need you to not discuss this conversation with anyone. Can you do that? For the first time in 2 months, I felt something other than despair. Hope. Terrifying, fragile hope. When you realize the truth is coming, type justice below. But hope is dangerous when you're desperate. 2 days after that meeting, I got a phone call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Miss Mitchell. A woman's voice. Not Vanessa. Yes. My name is Patricia Dominguez. I'm a parent at Riverside Elementary. I heard about what happened to you, and I think you should know something. My pulse quickened. What? Vanessa Torres did the same thing to another teacher 3 years ago. At Marcus's previous school in Greenville. A male teacher. She accused him of inappropriate contact, filed complaints, got him suspended. Then dropped the charges suddenly and moved to Riverside. My blood ran cold. Are you sure? I have a friend who worked at that school. She remembers it clearly. The teacher's name was David Chin. He lost his teaching license even though charges were dropped. Last she heard, he was working at a hardware store. Why would Vanessa do this? Patricia's voice dropped. Money. The teacher settled for $30,000 to make it go away. The school paid to avoid a lawsuit about their negligence in hiring him. Miss Mitchell, you need to tell the detective. Vanessa's doing this for money. And I think you're not the first. After she hung up, I immediately called Detective Chin and told her everything. She was silent for a long moment. Miss Mitchell, I need you to listen very carefully. Do not investigate this yourself. Do not contact this David Chin. Do not talk to anyone about this. What you've just told me changes everything, but if Vanessa's attorney finds out you're gathering information, they'll claim harassment. Do you understand? Yes. Good. I'll handle this. Sit tight. But sitting tight was about to become impossible. Because the next morning, Vanessa Torres filed a civil lawsuit against me for emotional distress and defamation. She was asking for $250,000. The trap was closing. I couldn't afford a lawyer. I'd spent every cent I had on rent and food. My credit cards were maxed. My family wasn't speaking to me. I was about to represent myself in a lawsuit that would financially destroy me for life. Then, 3 days before my response was due, I got an email from a law firm in the city, Chin and Associates. Dear Miss Mitchell, my name is Michael Chin. You don't know me, but you recently learned about my brother, David Chin, who was falsely accused by Vanessa Torres 3 years ago. When I heard she was doing this to another teacher, I knew I had to help. I'm an attorney specializing in defamation and civil rights cases. I'm offering to represent you pro bono. No fees. No charges. Please call me. I cried when I read it. For the first time in months, someone believed me. Someone was fighting for me. Michael Chin was nothing like I expected. Young, maybe early 30s, with an intensity in his eyes that came from personal pain. My brother never recovered, he told me when we met. He was a good teacher. Loved his students. After Vanessa destroyed his reputation, he fell into depression. Couldn't get hired anywhere. The lawsuit settlement disappeared into therapy bills and debt. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Be ready to fight. Because Vanessa Torres is about to find out what happens when she picks on someone with a lawyer who knows her playbook. Michael immediately filed a countersuit for malicious prosecution and defamation. And then he started digging. Michael Chin was thorough. Obsessive, even. Within 2 weeks, he'd uncovered something Detective Chin hadn't found yet. Vanessa Torres had done this 4 times. Not twice. 4 times. Look at this timeline, Michael said, spreading documents across his desk. 2015, 3rd grade teacher in Florida. Accusation. Settlement. $22,000. 2018, school counselor in Georgia. Accusation. Settlement. $35,000. 2021, 4th grade teacher in South Carolina, my brother. Settlement. $30,000. 2024, you. But this time, she's asking for $250,000. How is she getting away with this? Because schools want it to go away quietly. Because teachers can't afford to fight. Because the accusation alone is enough to destroy careers, so people settle to make it stop. His jaw clenched. She's a professional extortionist using her child as a weapon. But here's what she doesn't know. I've contacted every single teacher she's done this to. 2 have agreed to testify. 1 of them kept evidence, texts where Vanessa explicitly asked for money to make the problem disappear. My hands were shaking. Can we use that? We can. But more importantly, Detective Chin can use it criminally. This isn't just a pattern, it's fraud. Extortion. Child exploitation. Right then, Michael's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his face broke into a grin I'll never forget. That was Detective Chin. She's about to make an arrest. Detective Chin arrested Vanessa Torres at her home on charges of extortion, fraud, and filing false police reports. When they searched her residence, they found records going back 7 years. Different schools, different states, different teachers. But the same pattern every time. Marcus wasn't even home during the arrest. He was at his father's house for visitation. That kid had been used as a pawn in his mother's schemes for his entire childhood. Moved from school to school. Told to repeat lies about teachers who'd only tried to help him. The thought made me sick. The arrest made local news, but this time the headline was different. Local mother arrested in multi-state teacher extortion scheme. My phone started buzzing again. But this time, the messages were different. Jennifer, oh my God, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. My sister, can we talk? Please. David, I heard the news. I was wrong. Can we meet? I deleted every single one without responding. Where were these people when I needed them? When I was losing my apartment? When I couldn't afford food? They believed a stranger's accusation over someone they'd known for years. Some wounds don't heal just because the truth comes out. Real friends believe you before the truth comes out. Type real ones in the comment if you've been let down by people you trusted. The school district called an emergency meeting. Superintendent Morrison, who'd made that public statement condemning me, sat across from Michael Chin and me in a conference room that suddenly felt too small. Miss Mitchell, he began, on behalf of Riverside Elementary and the entire district, I want to offer our sincerest apologies for. You destroyed me, I said quietly. He stopped mid-sentence. You didn't investigate. You didn't ask questions. You released a public statement calling me a threat before anyone even looked at the evidence. We were following protocol. Your protocol ruined my life. I lost my job, my home, my reputation, my family, everything. Morrison cleared his throat uncomfortably. We would like to offer you full reinstatement with back pay and damages incurred. I don't want it. Everyone in the room froze. Michael touched my arm. Sarah, we discussed. I know what we discussed. But I'm not coming back. I looked directly at Morrison. You showed me exactly what you value. Not truth. Not your teachers. Just avoiding liability. I can't work for people like that. I stood up. I'll accept the back pay. I'll accept a written apology. And I'll accept a settlement for the damage to my reputation. But I'm not setting foot in that school again. Miss Mitchell, please. We'll be in touch through our attorney, Michael said, standing with me. Have a good day, Superintendent. As we walked out, I felt lighter than I had in months. Not because I won, but because I chose my dignity over their convenience. Vanessa Torres's trial became national news. 4 teachers testified. A forensic accountant traced $142,000 in settlement payments across 7 years. Text messages, emails, voice recordings one of the teachers had secretly made when Vanessa demanded money. The prosecution's case was airtight. I sat in the courtroom every single day of the trial. Not for revenge, but because I needed to see it through. I needed to look her in the eye as the truth dismantled her lies piece by piece. On the 3rd day, Vanessa took the stand. And she still claimed she was the victim. I was only trying to protect my son, she said, tears streaming down her face. These teachers took advantage of my trust. They made me feel like I was crazy for being concerned. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Amanda Torres, no relation, stepped forward with a folder. Mrs. Torres, you've claimed that 4 separate teachers across 4 different states all exhibited inappropriate behavior toward your son, correct? Yes. Isn't it true that in each case, you demanded money to drop the allegations? That's not, I was offered settlements. I didn't ask for. Amanda pulled out a printed text message, enlarged for the jury to see. If you give me $35,000, I'll make this all go away. Think about your career. Did you send this text to Mr. Davidson? Vanessa's face went pale. I was emotional. I didn't mean. Did you send similar texts to the other teachers? I want to invoke my Fifth Amendment. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Vanessa Torres was sentenced to 6 years in prison and ordered to pay restitution to all 4 teachers. When they read the verdict, I didn't feel joy. Just exhaustion. And a deep sadness for Marcus, who'd lost his mother to her own greed. 2 weeks after the trial, I got a letter. It was from Marcus's father, Robert Torres. Dear Miss Mitchell, you don't know me, but I wanted to reach out personally to thank you and apologize. When Vanessa first made the accusations against you, I didn't know what to believe. Our divorce was ugly, and I knew she was capable of manipulation. But accusing a teacher? I couldn't imagine she'd go that far. Now I know she went much further than any of us realized. Marcus is in therapy now. He's processing a lot. But he asked me to tell you something. He misses you. He misses the reading time after school. He kept the books you gave him and reads them every night. He also wanted me to tell you he's sorry. He didn't understand what was happening, but he knows the things his mother made him say hurt you. You don't owe us anything. But if you're ever willing to see him, even if it's just once, so he can apologize in person, I would be grateful. Sincerely, Robert Torres. I cried reading that letter. Because Marcus was always the real victim in this. A week later, I met them at a park. Neutral territory. Robert sat on a bench nearby while Marcus and I walked to the swings. He'd grown a few inches. His hair was longer. But his eyes were still the same, shy, searching kind. Miss Mitchell, he said quietly. Hey, Marcus. I'm sorry. For what my mom made me say. I didn't know it would hurt you so bad. I knelt down to his level. Marcus, you didn't do anything wrong. You're just a kid. None of this was your fault. Not one bit. Do you still think I'm a good reader? I think you're an amazing reader. And an amazing person. And I'm so proud of how brave you're being. He hugged me then. Just threw his arms around my neck and held on tight. And I held him back, this kid who'd been through so much, and whispered, you're going to be okay. I promise. If this scene got you in your feelings, drop a comment if you believed Marcus deserved better. The school district settlement paid off my debts and gave me enough to start over. But I didn't go back to teaching. Not in a classroom, anyway. Instead, Michael Chin and I started something new, the Truth Defense Initiative. A non-profit legal organization dedicated to defending teachers falsely accused of misconduct. Free legal representation. Investigative resources. Emotional support. Michael ran the legal side. I ran advocacy and outreach. We helped 12 teachers in our first year. 11 cases were dismissed. 1 went to trial and resulted in the accuser being charged with filing a false report. Word spread. Teachers started reaching out from across the country. And slowly, very slowly, I started to heal. My relationship with my family was still damaged. My mother apologized, but the words felt hollow. My sister tried, but there was a distance now that hadn't existed before. Some bridges, once burned, can't be fully rebuilt. But I made new connections. Other teachers who'd survived false accusations. Lawyers who believed in justice. People who understood that believing survivors doesn't mean abandoning the presumption of innocence. On the 1-year anniversary of my suspension, I visited Riverside Elementary. Not to go inside. Just to sit in my car across the street and watch the kids at recess. I saw a young teacher couldn't have been more than 25 years of age helping a student tie their shoe on the playground. Patient. Kind. Exactly how I used to be. And I whispered a promise to that teacher, whoever they were. If they ever come for you, I'll be there. You won't fight alone. 6 months after the trial, a producer from a national news program reached out. They wanted to do a segment on false accusations and the teachers caught in the crossfire. I almost said no. I'd spent so long trying to rebuild privately. But then I thought about all the teachers still suffering in silence. Still presumed guilty. Still losing everything because someone lied. So I said yes. The interviewer was a woman named Patricia Torres. Yes, the same Patricia who'd called me about Vanessa's pattern. She'd become a journalist specifically to cover education issues after seeing what happened to me. Sarah, she said on camera, you lost everything. Your career, your reputation, your relationships. If you could go back to that day when Vanessa first made the accusation, would you do anything differently? I thought about that question for a long time. No, I finally said. Because the problem wasn't anything I did. I was kind to a struggling student. I communicated with his parent. I followed every protocol, every rule. And I was still destroyed. So what needs to change? Everything. The way schools handle accusations. The way communities respond. The rush to judgment before investigations are complete. I looked directly at the camera. We tell people to believe survivors, and we should. But belief doesn't mean abandoning critical thinking. It doesn't mean destroying someone's life before you have facts. There's a difference between supporting someone who makes an accusation and condemning the accused before investigation. We can do both, take accusations seriously and protect the innocent. But right now, we're failing at both. Patricia leaned forward. What would you say to someone watching this who falsely accused someone? My voice got quiet. Hard. I'd say you didn't just hurt the person you accused. You hurt every real victim who won't be believed because of you. You hurt every teacher who's now afraid to help a struggling child. You didn't just commit a crime, you poisoned the well for everyone. The interview went viral. 3 million views in the first week. After the interview aired, my phone didn't stop ringing for days. Teachers from everywhere sharing their stories. Parents apologizing for jumping to conclusions about teachers in their communities. Students who remembered teachers who'd been wrongly accused years ago. But 3 calls stood out. The first was from Jennifer, my former best friend. Sarah, I know I don't deserve your time. But I watched your interview and I need you to know I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed I believed gossip over 8 years of friendship. I'm ashamed I didn't fight for you. If you never want to speak to me again, I understand. But I needed you to hear that. I didn't respond immediately. But I didn't hang up either. Jennifer, I forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean going back to what we were. Some things change you permanently. I know. And I'm so sorry. The second call was from Mrs. Henderson, my former principal. Miss Mitchell, I've resigned from Riverside Elementary. What happened to you? What I allowed to happen to you haunts me every day. I'm stepping down because teachers deserve better leadership than I provided. I just wanted you to know that. That call I appreciated. Not because it changed anything, but because accountability matters. The third call came from a number I didn't recognize. Is this Sarah Mitchell? Yes. My name is Elena Rodriguez. I teach 4th grade in Texas. And 2 days ago, a parent accused me of the same thing that happened to you. I'm terrified. I don't know what to do. Your interview gave me the courage to call. Elena, I need you to listen to me very carefully. You're not alone. You're not going to lose this fight. Give me your information. We're going to help you. That's when I knew this work, defending the innocent, wasn't just my second chapter. It was my purpose. If you think Sarah found her true calling, type purpose below. 2 years after the arrest, I received one final letter. It was from Vanessa Torres. From prison. I almost threw it away without reading it. But something made me open it. Miss Mitchell, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to even read this. But I need to say it anyway, I'm sorry. I told myself for years that what I was doing was justified. That teachers were overpaid and schools had insurance. That my son deserved opportunities and I was just taking what should have been ours anyway. But watching you testify, watching the other teachers testify, I finally saw what I'd done. Not to faceless institutions, but to real people. People who'd only tried to help my son. Marcus won't speak to me anymore. My son, the person I convinced myself I was protecting, won't even accept my calls. That's what I deserve. But you didn't deserve any of what I did to you. I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Vanessa. I read that letter 3 times. And then I did something I never thought I'd do, I wrote back. Not with forgiveness, not with reconciliation, but with one sentence. I hope you find a way to live with what you've done. Because I had to. I sealed it, mailed it, and let it go. Not for her, but for me. Because holding on to anger was like drinking poison and expecting her to die. My name is Sarah Mitchell. And 3 years ago, I lost everything in a single night. But here's what I gained. Purpose, clarity, strength I never knew I had. I learned that the truth doesn't always come quickly. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes years. Sometimes it never comes at all. But when it does, when it finally breaks through the lies and the gossip and the rush to judgment, it's worth the wait. It's worth the fight. I'm not a classroom teacher anymore, but I'm still fighting for students by protecting the teachers who dedicate their lives to them. The Truth Defense Initiative has helped 127 teachers to date. We've won 114 cases. We've changed school district policies in 8 states. And we're just getting started. If you're out there right now, falsely accused of something you didn't do, hold on. Document everything, find your people, and fight like hell. Because the truth matters. And eventually, if you don't give up, the truth comes out. It always does.